Hi guys, it's Karen with Love Your Land again. Okay, so I've done a microgreen seed giveaway. If you haven't seen it, go back a couple of videos. It's going on now. I don't know when you're watching this, but if it, I think it's January 7th, 8th, 2016. That's going on right now. So if you want to try this, go over there and you watch that video and you'll find out how to get free seeds from me. So you can give it a whirl without investing any money on seeds anyway. Okay, so the thing to know about microgreens are, first of all, like what are they? So microgreens are, I should have grabbed some of these from our friends at growingmicrogreens.com. So as you may have seen in the last video, if you watched it, go watch it. Microgreens are loud. No, they're not really loud, just the seeds are. Microgreens are the immature versions of regular big plants that you would grow to full size to eat, like cabbage or kale or Swiss chard or radishes or arugula, basil, broccoli. I could go on and on. Really, anything that you can eat the greens of, you can grow as a microgreen. And what they end up being, I'll show you in a minute. But you know, actually, if you go to the store and you're in the produce section over by like the mushrooms usually, or the alfalfa sprouts, it's real popular. They have these little containers that are about that big and they're flat and they're the little clamshell things, and they sell microgreens in there. But they're like, I meant to check this before. All I know is they're really expensive for what you get, because like I could take that whole clamshell and dump it in my salad. Bam, gone. You know, maybe make 2 sandwiches out of it. But if you grow them yourself, you're going to get a lot more, and the amount of seed that you have to use is so minuscule compared to what you get. It's really the way to go, and it's the perfect thing to grow in winter because they don't require a lot of light, because they only get this big. Again, they don't require a lot of room. They don't require a lot of soil. They don't require a lot of water. I mean, they're just sort of really super low maintenance. But for whatever reason, the nutritional value of any one of these in microgreen form is 4 to 40 times its nutritional value or the nutritional value of its mature counterpart. So they're extremely nutritious. So great thing to grow in winter with all the colds and yucky things that are going around. So, and you're growing greens in your house all year long. You can do this. I mean, like I said in my last video, even if you didn't even have like a window in your house, you could grow them, because they just don't, you're not letting them get big enough to where light is now their big requirement. Food is not their big requirement either, because they barely get out of the like seed leaf stage. You actually harvest them when they have their first true leaves. But anyway, so what do you need? You need a shallow container. I personally like this. These are my little seed starting containers. And they're cheap. They're, I don't know, $1, $2, something like that, at my local garden center. You could also just recycle something like this. You don't need to fill this to the top. This is why you want a shallow thing, because you only need to put like 1.5 inches of soil in there. So you can definitely use this. The only problem with this, and I noticed this, I actually watched Luke at My Gardener's video. I told him I wasn't going to, but so much time has gone by, I decided to watch it. But when you go to harvest your microgreens, you're gonna try to stick your hand there and kind of mashing down these guys as you're trying to cut these guys. So this is totally usable. It's a fine option. But if you have something like this that you're recycling, that's shallower, more shallow, go with that option if you have it. So what I did, the first set of microgreens that I've grown, which you'll see in a minute, I didn't add any plant food, because again, they really just barely get out of that stage where the seed contains everything that the little seedling needs in the beginning, and then very soon after that, once it gets its first set of true leaves, it needs to be fed. So I didn't feed the first ones when I started them, but I'm going to feed these because, for one thing, it's a good experiment for me, and of course I'm using Trifecta. I feel like a commercial. Never mind. Anyway, Trifecta, by the way, is go to migardener.com/store, and this is an old package from last summer, but that's all I have right now. But anyway, go there and you can get it. It's I've talked about it a million times. It's amazing. So again, I'm going to use this container. This is how easy this is. I went ahead and measured out how much soil I want for this, and I ended up being 8 cups of my soil medium, which is sterile soil and coir and some perlite that the garden center puts in there. But it's 8 cups of soil medium, and then I put in about 1/8 of a cup of trifecta and mixed it in. They just don't need much. I mean, if this was going to be for like transplanting tomatoes, I would be putting more, but microgreens, real low maintenance, real low needs. So you just go ahead and dump your soil in there. And we're almost done. Smooth it out. You don't really need to pat it down at all. Now, as always, my soil is pre-moistened. And if ever there was an important time to make sure your soil was pre-moistened, it's when you're starting microgreen seeds, because you're really not going to be putting anything on top of them. And they're really tiny. Well, some aren't. But you really don't want to jar them. You know, you don't want to be pouring water in here. So pre-moisten your soil. Then take your seeds. These are actually not from growingmicrogreens.com, only because I had these first. I've had these for a little while. So for this size container, I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons, and I'm just sprinkling it on top. I don't even need 2 tablespoons, but so maybe 1.5. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Totally easy. Ta-da! Of all my props, I forgot one. So the next thing you want to do, actually, 2 things. First of all, I got this for $8 at Mart. And I had to do this now. I couldn't do it before because it loses pressure. $8. It's just for water. I have others that I put vinegar in or whatever, maybe baking soda, but I keep them all separate. So this is just water. This is for my indoor use, and it's perfect for seedlings and especially for microgreens. So now I'm going to wet these down just a little with this fine mist because it's nice and gentle, and everybody will be happy. Okay. Then, last step, and I'd highly recommend this because it really helps. It's shallow soil, it's a shallow pan. You're not pouring water in there, you're just spraying it basically, hopefully, if you listen to what I'm saying. And so it can dry out really fast. And so I did this with the other ones you're going to see in a minute, and it worked out really well. So now I'm going to spray this down, and this is going to help keep the moisture in a lot. You're not going to have as much evaporation. The towel itself is going to stay moist, and so that's going to keep the soil moist. And it also acts as sort of a more gentle layer rather than putting soil on top, because these do need to be able to poke up, and you don't want to bury them too deep, well, with any seed. But, this is just another option instead of sprinkling more soil on top. So I'm going to keep this, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to check this twice a day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever, and make sure that it stays moist. As soon as those little guys poke up, and you need to be checking it every day because mine sprouted in 3 days. So, and I did put this in a sunny window. I didn't add any extra light though. But as soon as they start to come up, when they're almost invisibly green, you can barely see that anything has come up. You don't need to take it off just yet, but like the next day or even that night, you need to gently remove this. And when you remove this, I'm going to tell you now, some seeds are going to come with it. Even some little bitty seedlings are going to come up. I just kind of picked them off and set them back down, and they did fine. So that's it. And most microgreen mixes or any of this stuff, they're going to come up in between 7 to 10 days and be ready to harvest in about 10 days. Some take longer. Some take like 3 weeks. So once they have harvested, once they have come up in their microgreen size, check it out. they look like this. Yes, I have all the props. These actually, I started these December 14th, so these are 3 weeks old. You don't need to let them get this big, but I think it's kind of cool for this video because you can really see them. So once they're all ready to be harvested, you don't want to pull them out by the roots or anything. You simply want to come through and cut off kind of right at the soil line. And if you don't get right at the soil line, it's okay. They're not going to grow back. That's the key, is that they don't grow back, and you don't want them to. You want to be able to reuse this little container and keep going and having microgreens all the live long day. So I'm not going to keep you on here for all of this, but you get the idea. Harvest, harvest, harvest. So kind of looks like that. Oopsie. And okay, so there's some. I'm going to finish harvesting these and I'll bring you back. But you don't want dirt, so don't pull them up by the roots. That's the key. The roots can stay in there. So that's what they look like now. And I'll be right back. I'm going to finish these up and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, I just harvested these. They're all kind of packed in here, but there's a lot. Now, don't dump the soil out. You can see there's still some green in here. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm going to pull just a few of these out only to make room for roots. But the thing is all of this stuff that I'm pulling out, or that I'm leaving in, I should say, is just organic matter that's going to stay in your soil. So you don't need to worry about pulling out every little mini plant. You really, really don't. So I'm losing a little bit of soil doing this, but that's okay. It's so minimal. It's like a teaspoon. And that's about good. That's fine there. So you can see I still, like I said, I still have some green in here. It's not a problem. Okay. Now, again, this isn't going to have trifecta in it because I didn't add it to this particular soil, but that's okay. This will be good, actually. We'll have one with trifecta and one without, starting at the same time. This will be a little different because it has all this stuff in here, but it really is okay. You can even kind of till up your soil a little if you want. But the roots that are in there are not going to regrow plants. There's no leaves left on them for them to photosynthesize to do that. So just kind of scooch it all in there and it'll be fine. All right, so now I'm going to take another couple tablespoons, or what did I say, tablespoon and a half. That's a lot. And keep going with another tray. So the next time I harvest these, I'm going to have 2 trays. I'll put a little more in there. So it won't just be my lunch. Maybe somebody else in my family can enjoy these too. So there you have it. Gonna get a paper towel. Nope, no I'm not. I'm gonna... Don't you guys love how organized I am? And loud with my sprayer. Water these guys down a little bit. You know, I will say too, once they got as big as they were in this container, I didn't rely on this anymore. I would take them over here to the sink every couple of days. And I happen to have on my thing, I have a little setting where I can make the sprayer be really like fine. Not fine, but it's not like... So that's what I was doing. I would just take them over and give them a light shower to actually really water them. Because once they get, again, these were 3 weeks old. They didn't need to be that old before I harvested them, but I wanted to do this video, so I left them in there. So once they get to be that size, then you're going to want to start giving them some, you know, a real watering. Anyway, that is it. So now I have 2 trays of microgreens going. This one has trifecta, this one doesn't. I will talk to you soon. I'm going to go have a salad. All right? Take it easy. Bye.